Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has met US President Donald Trump in Florida for the latest round of talks to end the war with Russia. ABC correspondent Rachel Clayton is in Washington. Rach, good morning. Can you talk us through what happened?
Morning, Emma. Well, both the presidents met briefly outside Mar-a-Lago. They shook hands and were looking very happy with one another and very friendly before they took a couple of questions from reporters. Mr. Trump answered the vast majority of those questions, some of which were very, or continue to be very top of mind when it comes to peace negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. He was asked about a deadline and whether or not he had a deadline for these peace negotiations to be agreed upon. He said that there was no deadline and that this was the trickiest war that he had been involved in when it came to ending the fighting. Mr. Trump did say that either the fighting would end very soon or that it would continue for a very, very long time. He also took this opportunity to reiterate that any peace plan that Ukraine agreed to would be of, quote, great economic benefit for the Ukrainian people, which is very on brand for President Trump. He was also asked about security guarantees. And we know that security guarantees are a real sticking point for President Volodymyr Zelensky. He has said in the past and continues to say that he cannot agree to any peace plan that does not involve security guarantees from Europe and from the US. Here's what Mr. Trump had to say about that.
Nobody even knows what the security agreement is going to say, but there will be a security agreement. It'll be a strong agreement. And the European nations are very much involved in that. They've been very much involved in protection, etc. But the European nations have been really great. They're very much in line with this meeting and with getting a deal done. They're terrific people.
Rach, this 20-point peace plan has been in the works for quite a while now. What are we expecting these negotiations to cover?
The plan has three major roadblocks. One of them, and probably the top one, is about territory. Russia has continued to say that it wants control of the entire Donbass region in eastern Ukraine. That's something that Volodymyr Zelensky has continued to say is not something he's open to. However, he did say just a few days ago, or signalled that he might be willing to have some wiggle room on ceding territory, but he said it would be up to the Ukrainian people. So a referendum would have to take place for Ukraine to cede territory to Russia. However, for a referendum to take place, there needs to be a peaceful environment for that to happen. So a ceasefire would have to be agreed to. Russia said this morning that that was not something that they were willing to agree to. President Putin even saying that a ceasefire could ramp up tensions between Ukraine and Russia and was not something he was going to budge on. So that remains a real sticking point. Another one is, of course, security guarantees. We haven't heard any sort of rock-solid plan when it comes to security guarantees. The details of that have continued to be quite vague. There's been some detail over the past few days, the US saying that there could be a demilitarized zone in eastern Ukraine, but that would involve possibly having foreign troops on the ground. Another thing that Russia has said they will not agree to. They do not want foreign troops on the ground controlling any of that region. And then there's the future of Europe's largest power plant in a region called Zaporizhzhia. Russia took control of that power plant early on when the war started 4 years ago. It was in Ukrainian hands. It's now not. It's in Russian hands, and Ukraine has said that they want that back. President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he's willing to go into a deal with the US, a sort of 50-50 deal with that power plant. The profits from that power plant are divided between Ukraine and the US, and the US is free to sort of do what it wants with its half, which could include a deal with Russia. But Zelensky has said he cannot, and Ukraine cannot, make any sort of economic deal with Russia. So there are some pretty big roadblocks ahead when it comes to this peace plan. These negotiations have been going on for almost a year now, and sometimes it does sort of seem that we're no closer to peace. But President Trump said this morning that he would be calling Russia after these negotiations with Zelensky today, and that he was also going to be calling European leaders to talk about security guarantees.